Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So our mission today, it's pretty simple. We want to give you that executive-level shortcut to what's happening right now in the technical world.
Yeah.
We've taken this huge weekly digest, the technical news you can possibly use for January 16, 2026, and we've just boiled it down to the absolute critical stuff you need to know.
And looking across all 8 areas in this thing, Azure, DevOps, security, all of it, it confirms one foundational truth.
What's that?
AI agents and Copilot, they aren't just features anymore. They are the central architecture for everything. So we're going to synthesize the nuggets that matter so you get the implication, not just the headline.
Exactly. I mean, we are so past the era of just using an AI chatbot for help.
Oh, way past it.
We're now building, securing, and governing entire ecosystems of autonomous AI agents. And that's a massive shift.
Huge.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start where it all sits, a cloud core.
The Azure updates kick us off, and the general update video is always good. But the real strategic focus here is security. We're talking long-term foundational risk.
That's right. The source material really highlights this video, what quantum safe is and why we need it to stay secure. It sounds so futuristic, but the implication is, well, it's right now, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. This is a signal that serious organizations are already having to think about post-quantum cryptography right now.
So the threat isn't that a quantum computer breaks everything today.
No, not today. The risk is the harvest now, decrypt later attack.
Okay.
Where someone steals your encrypted data today, stores it, and just waits until they have the quantum power to crack it open.
Yeah.
This isn't just theory anymore. It's driving real engineering decisions.
And at the same time, AI is pushing into these super specialized regulated areas. We saw updates that Claude and Microsoft Foundry is being used specifically for, what was it?
Healthcare and life sciences. And that's a critical point. When AI moves into Foundry, it means it's ready for high-trust environments where compliance is, non-negotiable. It shows the tools are maturing past just being general purpose.
Okay, so let's pivot to Microsoft 365, which is kind of the UI layer for all this. The immediate focus seems to be identity and access. I was really interested in that first look video at Entra ID sync passkeys.
Yeah, that's a major enterprise milestone. Passkeys aren't new, but syncing them through Entra ID, that makes passwordless truly enterprise ready.
It reduces friction for the user, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. While giving you stronger phishing-resistant security that IT can actually manage centrally, it's all about operationalizing security at scale.
And with Copilot embedding itself everywhere, Outlook, Teams, you name it, the engineering guides are scrambling to keep up. We saw new docs on the Microsoft 365 Copilot APIs.
Which is basically an invitation for every developer to start building on top of the Microsoft Graph.
Which then immediately means you need the next piece of documentation.
Of course. How to secure and administer Microsoft 365 Copilot and agents. If you open the APIs, you open new data pathways, which brings us right back to
identity and permissions. And speaking of permissions, there was this crucial governance nugget, an article on why group-based access is critical for SharePoint governance. Why is that suddenly so much more important now?
Because Copilot completely changes the risk surface of SharePoint.
How so?
Well, when a user queries Copilot, that agent can surface info from any document that user has access to.
Okay.
So if your permissions are a mess, fragmented based on individual sharing links, Copilot basically becomes a super efficient vulnerability finder.
I see.
Linking permissions to standardized groups is the only way to control the blast radius of what Copilot might expose.
That is a fantastic connection. So the core systems are having to react to this agent explosion.
Absolutely. The problem isn't the AI, it's the access the AI inherits.
Okay, so now let's step out of the core platforms and into automation.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in this digest, it's pretty much all about building agents.
Yeah, looking at Power Platform and Dynamics 365, it's like an agent assembly line. The sheer density of resources is incredible.
We saw 2 major deep dives highlighted, right? Creating autonomous agents in Copilot Studio, and then how to master the art of building agents using the same tool.
It's not just tutorials. This is a clear strategy to democratize agent creation. They want everyone building these things with low code.
But these agents can't just be standalone workers, can they? They have to plug into the data.
Precisely. And that's why that video on how to unlock SharePoint embedded integration with Power Platform connectors is so important.
Because that's where the content lives.
That's where all the organizational knowledge is. So by integrating the connectors, they're giving these new low-code agents deep native access to the documents they need to actually do their work.
So Power Platform is creating agents at this furious pace, which leads to the next question. How is DevOps preparing the infrastructure to host all of this?
And that takes us to DevOps and SRE. The theme is crystal clear. DevOps is no longer just about optimizing for microservices. It's about optimizing for AI and LLMs.
It got incredibly specific. I'm thinking of that guidance on optimizing JSON for large language models.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very specific task. Why should a developer care that much about their JSON format?
Because every character, every unnecessary bracket is a token, and tokens are expensive.
Right.
If you're not optimizing your data formats, you're just adding latency, raising your costs, and maybe even hitting context window limits. It's about speed and budget in this new AI economy.
You know, this efficiency push goes right into the code editor. We saw stuff on maximizing Claude code effectiveness and using slash commands.
The whole interface for programming is changing. It's less about typing and more about, well, instructing. You tell the agent how to write the code. It's all about developer throughput.
And to really summarize this trend, we saw resources on orchestrating multiple agents in VS Code. We're not talking about one copilot anymore.
No, we're talking about a team of agents, one for testing, one for docs, one for deployment, all working together in your IDE.
Plus the updates to the GitHub Copilot CLI. Enhanced agents, context management. The command line is being replaced by the agent prompt.
That's the key takeaway. The agent is becoming the primary interface for everything.
Which naturally brings us to the intersection of data, raw compute power, and the massive security headaches this all creates. Starting with data and AI, I have to bring up this one fact from the sources. A video mentioning a full petaflop in the palm of your hand.
A petaflop, a quadrillion operations per second. That's just... It signifies extreme compute density. It means the curve of localized processing power is still going exponential, which is what you need for a distributed agent ecosystem.
And with that power, you need new tools. They introduced DROSI, which is Microsoft's new open source project for event-driven data processing.
DROSI is basically their answer to cutting through the noise. With so many agents creating logs and events, you need a smart layer to find the critical incidents. It's pushing us toward automated operational response.
There's also a really practical guide on how to benchmark embedding models on your own data.
Yeah, we're moving past just trusting the model to actually measuring it rigorously for your specific use case.
But you can't talk about data without talking about risk. And there was a crucial deep dive on data security and compliance for Azure Foundry AI apps and agents.
Linking the data work directly to risk management right from the start, as it should be.
And that leads us to the security section, which I think has the most important strategic news in the entire digest. This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The central conflict is laid bare in 2 articles. This stark realization that AI agents are becoming authorization bypass paths and that agentic AI is an identity problem.
This is the aha moment of the week right here. If an autonomous agent inherits a user's identity.
Like a service account.
Exactly. And that agent can then act in unexpected ways. It becomes an unauthorized path into your systems. The agent is a new, non-human user that bypasses all the checks you built for people.
And so what here is accountability. The newsletter says CISO's chief information security officers will be held personally accountable for this.
That is a massive shift.
Right.
The security boundary isn't the network firewall anymore. It's the permission set of every single autonomous agent.
So what's the solution?
Well, they're trying to figure it out. We see deep dives on identity for AI agents with guides from authors, essential reading, and then there's the Purview Data Security and Entra Global Secure Access deep dive, which is Microsoft trying to build the blueprint for this new era.
And this isn't just about internal threats, right? There was also the video on the threat briefing, the state of cybercrime and AI's double-edged sword.
Correct. AI is a tool for us, the defenders, but it's being weaponized by attackers. We're seeing more sophisticated phishing, automated cybercrime. The agents we're building are facing smarter adversaries.
Okay, our final section, growth, skills, and industry shifts. If you're a learner, it seems pretty clear the priority is understanding the whole Microsoft AI ecosystem with copilots and AI agents.
It is, but there's a grounding force in here too. The SharePoint 2026 Full Beginner's Guide to Site Building is still highlighted.
That's a good point.
It's a reminder that the foundational knowledge still matters. The data lives in SharePoint. If you don't get the structure, the AI on top is useless.
For developers, we're seeing really specific training. generative AI with large language models in C# 2026, and how to run your AI coding agent in containers.
And we also have to recognize the meta skills. I saw a course on building an AI app with Google Anti-Gravity, so cross-platform knowledge is key. But maybe the most vital resource was the one called How to Not Be Overwhelmed by AI, a developer's guide.
Yeah, that one stood out.
The cognitive toll of this pace is real. Managing information overload is now a core technical skill.
And speaking of shifts, that Claude Cowork demo, it showed that task queues are replacing chat interfaces.
This is huge. We're moving past the back-and-forth chat to a transactional model. We're not chatting with the AI anymore. We are delegating structured work to it. The UI reflects that shift from assistant to agent.
Okay, let's wrap with industry news. We've got Satya Nadella starts an AI blog to push past slop.
That word slop is important. It signals a real commitment from leadership to prioritize high-quality, reliable AI output, not just, generated noise.
And Copilot gets a big market win. PayPal powers Microsoft's launch of Copilot Checkout.
When a huge financial player embeds your AI for customer transactions, it's not just adoption, that's market saturation.
On the tech side, DeepSeek's conditional memory fixes silent LLM waste.
Which basically means making the models cheaper and faster to run, essential for global deployment.
But the competition is heating up. Anthropic launches Cowork, a desktop agent that works directly in your files.
A direct competitor. This shows the agent space is not going to be owned by just one platform.
And with all this innovation comes risk. We have to end with the cautionary tale. A new one-click Microsoft Copilot vulnerability that grants undetected data access.
Which underscores exactly why that CISO accountability news was so urgent. The risk is immediate.
But we do end on a win, a simple prompt technique that boosts LLM accuracy by up to 76%.
A great reminder that sometimes the biggest gains come from better communication, not just better models. Prompt engineering is still a huge deal.
What a dive. I mean, its digest was just a concentrated shot of the immediate future. The common threads were undeniable. The explosion of autonomous AI agents, Copilot being central to everything, and this urgent security reckoning that's happening right now.
That's the whole synthesis. The primary aha moment for you, the learner, has to be this. The technical world is shifting from asking, how do I use this tool, to the much bigger question of how do I build, secure, and govern this autonomous agent.
Right.
Identity and authorization are now, without a doubt, center stage.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought, straight from the sources. If the rise of autonomous AI agents means CISOs are now personally accountable for a new kind of identity problem, a problem they are just now scrambling to understand, what level of cascading accountability does that imply for the individual developers and builders who are actually creating those agents?
Something to think about. That entire chain of responsibility.
Think about that as you design your next solution.
Something to mull over deeply as you plan your week.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.